Rajesh, can you help me out bringing the participants inside?
Sure. We can disable the waiting room now, right?
Okay, I'll do that. I disabled it, right? Hello?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
Ram. Yeah.
Music is okay? DJ, you are there? DJ? You are there, right? You're perfect, right?
Yep.
All well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. All good.
Perfect.
Awesome. Nice music. That's the mode. Yes, beautiful.
Okay. Test. Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Audible, visible?
Yes.
Too close?
Who is that? Yeah, Saiju.
Tanya? ठीक है? Okay. Smile, Tanya. That's like it. All right, this is my camera. I'm stopping this. Okay. Hi, Devi. Hi, Vidya. Sorry. Rani.
Aina, you can start.
Oh, you can start? Okay. Audible? Oh, I can't see anyone. Right. All right. District dignitaries, chief guest. Okay. Chief guests of the session, benevolent leaders, our beautiful and smiling, and for all the other leaders. It's Friday, and we are here. One more session of growth series. Good afternoon. Okay. And I'm sure you guys are all muted. So welcome once again to the growth series, which is specially done for CGD team, special session where we bring in leaders and speakers from all walks of the life. Let's all give our complete cooperation, educate, inform, and inspire. I'm your Sergeant at Arms, Naina Sheju. And let me talk about the importance of Sergeant at Arms. It is like that long terms and conditions, which we generally skip and just type, I agree in the end, right? It is also important as the ads in the cinema theater. It is an indication that, come on, let's hurry up. Something great is about to begin. So with this Sergeant at Arms note, let me start with the mission of the district. The mission of the district, do we have a slide? Okay, the mission of the district is we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Some ground rules, which please follow. Keep your videos on and your mics in mute. Kindly use the chat box generously to give your positive feedbacks. Let us now move on with the enthralling session today. And to take this forward, we have a person, a benevolent leader. She's a business development. She was in business development in healthcare industry for past 2 decades. She's an avid preacher of benefits of mindfulness. She's a passionate public speaker. And she also is passionate about innovative entrepreneurship. She's a trainer and coach. Our past Division M director. I'm honored to welcome the master in the session, DTM Vidya Rani. Let's welcome with her thunderous applause. Over to you.
Thank you.
DTM.
Thank you, DTM Naina. With your address, I'm sure you have woken up anybody who was in a slight slumber on this Friday afternoon. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings to our motivational speaker today, all the way from India, DTM DJ. Eagerly, we are looking forward to our club growth director, our very own dear friend, distinguished Toastmaster Rania Abulrab, and our district advisor, distinguished Toastmaster Balaji Bhushan with us, all the other international dignitaries who have joined us today, district leaders, division directors, area directors, Toastmasters, and other guests who's enthusiastically joined us today for the Club Growth Series number 3, organized by the CGD team. Why do we need growth? Do we need growth at all? Growth is a natural process. It's inevitable. Whether we like it or not, growth does happen. Right from birth until now, we have grown. We couldn't stop our growth, didn't we? But it's totally up to us if we would like to grow like a wild bush in a desert, or we would like to be like a well-manicured botanical garden. It's totally in our hands. What do we want to be in our life? What kind of a personality do we have to grow? And I'm sure 47 of us this afternoon on a Friday, foregoing everything else, are here in this webinar because we are serious about growing passionately, growing to make our life beautiful. Like I said, that well-manicured, beautiful garden. That's what we want to be. We want to spread the fragrance and joy all across the world around us. So to hone our skills, to develop those little secrets about how can we grow beautifully, to climb, is the theme of the day today. And it's my honor today, and I've been really lucky because as a customary, the guest speaker is always introduced by our CGD. But she graciously gave me this opportunity, and I didn't want to let go of that, and I grabbed it with open arms because I had two selfish desires out of this. One was the Bangalore connection. Being from Bangalore and DJ being from Bangalore, I thought that instant connection that I wanted to introduce him myself. And another selfish connection is I want to enter his inner circle, brush myself, those rock star qualities that I could probably get into my nerves and probably become a bit of what he does to the world. So I hope the next hour or so that we spend together, he will brush all those qualities that he has acquired to all of us, and we can take up forward. And I'm sure it will benefit all of us. Most of you know who DJ is, but for some of us, already probably when you saw the posters, you must have Googled him, searched about him. But I can't wait to give you information about who DJ is. Ladies and gentlemen, DJ has trained over 100,000 people, and he's given over 1,000 motivational talks and keynote addresses to audiences. I want you all to hear me right. Count the number of cities. Probably you will get this at the end of the session as a question during moderation when Rania takes up the moderation. The number of cities that he has given the talks across the world. Washington, D.C., Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Louis, California, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, British Virgin Islands, US Virgin Islands, St. Croix and Bermuda, Toronto, Nova Scotia in Canada, Muscat, Kuwait, Doha, Qatar, Riyadh, Bangkok, Dubai, Philippines, Uganda, Colombo, and hold your breath, almost all the major cities in India. Imagine the number of passports that he would have stamped to travel across, and imagine the number of lives that he must have touched to make a difference. Some of the companies that he has done training for, the best in the world, Mercedes, JP Morgan, Titan Industries, Infosys, Wipro, Siemens, Microsoft, IBM, Myntra, Wells Fargo, ANZ, Dell, Novo, Nordisk, Savills, etc. Can you all imagine how lucky we are to have him with us today? As a serial entrepreneur, he ventured into advertising, events, filmmaking, e-commerce, and training and development. And here comes the interesting part within the Toastmaster fraternity. As a Toastmaster, DJ has acquired DTM 3 times. Can you imagine? 3 times. It's the highest level of recognition given by Toastmasters, and he has done it not once, twice, but 3 times. He is the first in District 92 to finish a DTM through Pathways. He's been 9 times president, 2 times founder president, past area governor, past division governor, past lieutenant governor, marketing of District 82. That involved all the Toastmaster clubs in India and Sri Lanka. District 92 champion thrice in the past 5 years. He was a second runner-up in semi-finals in the World Championship of Public Speaking in 2016 in Washington, D.C. We all sat down in the middle of the night to watch that. Can you all remember? He was the first runner-up at semis in the World Championship of Public Speaking in 2018 in Chicago, qualifying him as one of the top 20 speakers in the world. He's the current District 92 ISC champion of 2020. DJ did a 100-speech marathon to raise funds for Navdeep, who was fighting cancer. This is something which touches all our hearts, the extraordinary work that he's doing. He's earned the title, the Silver-Tongued Orator of India, given by Lions International and the JCs. The title, International Poet of Merit by Poets International. And he's fondly called the rock star of Toastmasters in India. One individual having so many qualities. The least that we could do now is actually express your love and support by your thunderous round of applause, or spread the whole screen with the reaction button of the applause. And ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the motivational speaker today, DTM, Deepak Justine. We fondly call him DJ. Over to you, DJ. The screen is all yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Vidya. I'm so humbled by that introduction. Some speakers don't need an introduction. With an introduction like that, you don't need a speaker. I feel like switching off my video and just going back and sleeping. I'm so filled and gratified. Thank you so much. I'd love to see you all. Could you please switch on your screen so that I know you're not eating your lunch? Or wonderful to see that people are still there. Okay. A big shout out to all the district leaders, Club Growth Director of District 105, Rania, the host for this particular meeting, the various division directors, area directors, and other club officers from District 105, my very own district PQD, DTM Vanita Rangarajan. It's an absolute honor to have you. It is like my own principal has come to see my performance in my school. That's how I feel like. A few principals have actually come from some schools. Unfortunately, I did not study in the schools. A big shout out to them, Mrs. Deepa Sridhar, Mrs. Mallika, and a few others. Michael Water logging in all the way from Russia. Michael, I don't even know what time it is in Russia, but thank you so much, man. He's one of the youngest men that I've ever seen. I think he's in 60s or 70s or 90s, 105. He's still the youngest man. And all others, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are in. Okay, show of hands. How many of you have seen a movie that you have already seen just for one scene? And that too, a trilogy. Okay, I have seen a trilogy for the sake of this presentation for just one scene. Yes, we exist. And the name of the movie is The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, spoiler alert. If I'm going to tell you some of the significant scenes of the movie in the due course of my presentation, the fault, my dear friend, is not in the stars, but is in you, because Christopher Nolan had already given you 8 years to see the movie. The movie was released in the year 2012, so 8 years, and in spite of the lockdown, if you've not seen it, the fault is definitely not in the stars, or is not in me either. Okay, fine. So for those of you who have not seen, I'm going to share the screen. My friend Ram Swami is going to go ahead and help me out in trying to give me a thumbs up and saying whether the screen is visible or not. Ram has got an amazing smile, and Ram says yes with a big thumbs up. Okay, great. The movie is all about a little boy, and the little boy, his name is Bruce Wayne. He's a son of a multi-billionaire, not millionaire, billionaire. And this boy is playing with his childhood sweetheart, Rachel. He slips and he falls into a pit. He's screaming his lungs out. Rachel runs and she goes and asks Bruce Wayne's dad, the Mr. Wayne, the father Wayne of Wayne Enterprises, to come and rescue him. The father Wayne comes and picks him up. In the meanwhile, there are a lot of bats that go about traumatizing the little boy on the inside of the dark pit. That very night, he cannot sleep properly. He gets a lot of nightmares of bats swarming across him, across the vicinity, and this particular nightmare doesn't stop. As time goes by, one fine day, the Owens are going to a movie, and as they make an exit and they're walking back, they find that there's a burglar, one of those roadside street urchins, who goes about stealing a piece of jewelry from the mother, and he shoots the father and the mother. Little Bruce is devastated. He's lying there, realizing for the first time in his life that he's got no one to turn to. He lies there absolutely devastated. Now, there are two things that can happen when a person is totally devastated and the basic social support system, the emotional support system is taken away from you. You can either decide to go back with a vengeance and try to give back to that particular person along with his family the same injustice that was meted out to you, or you could choose the latter. You could choose to ensure that your past does not become another person's future, and you choose to be the bodyguard or the vigilant of the entire city. Bruce Wayne decides to go for the second option. He tries to work with gadgets, a lot of scientific technology that is involved, and he tries to put on an alter ego. He tries to select the attire of the creature that scares him the most, and that is the bat. And he decides to become, obviously, the Batman. Enter into our scene Bane. Bane is not evil. Bane is not the mother of evil. Bane is not the father of evil. Bane is the father of the mother of evil. Absolutely brutal in thinking, fatal in punching, and devastating with a single-minded mission to destroy that city that meted out injustice to him. So he goes about destroying the only hope that the city has got, and that is Batman. He goes about pounding the living daylights out of Batman, and he ensures that Batman gets a punishment that he does not quite deserve. When Batman asks him this question, why don't you just kill me? He says, no, that is easy for you because you're not scared of death. He says, I want to give you a punishment that probably make you regret and wish that you were dead. He says, I want you to live to see the city that you wanted to protect to burn and to die. So he throws him into a bottomless pit. My dear friends, I'd like to pause over here. Now, this is where our roads possibly intersect. Now, the times that we are living in, a lot of us feel that, yes, we've been thrown into a pit. The bane of the times that we are living in, literally and figuratively, is the fact that, yes, we've been inflicted for a crime that we did not commit, for just going about just living our lives. And today, a lot of people do not know how to come out of this particular pit. And the remaining part of my presentation is all about just that. You know the beauty of the movie The Dark Knight Rises? The Dark Knight rises. That's right. The Dark Knight rises. He rises out of the pit. He makes the climb. And in the process, he leaves us a lot of life lessons that we too can probably take. And we too can probably pull ourselves out of the so-called pits that we probably pushed ourselves or been forced to be pushed into by the cruel hand of fate or time. Okay, now it's time for a pit stop for us to go ahead and reflect on whatever has happened. Yes, there's a big C that pushed us into a pit. The big C, some people call it Corona, some people call it COVID, and some people believe, yes, the reason for the fact that we got into a pit is because of a bat. That again resonates with my theme of talking about Batman. Yes, I think it all sorts of adds up together. Now, if you're looking for a single formula, if you're thinking that I'm going to present to you a silver bullet, there's one single formula, one magic pill that is going to magically transform, and tomorrow you wake up and you become a radically new person, but you're in the wrong presentation. Well, I'm here to give you a process. When I was very young, I still remember, I saw a man breaking a rock with a hammer. And he was hitting the rock for a long time. He probably took about 1,000 blows. And I asked him this question, which blow do you think helped you to break the rock? Common sense would tell you probably it's the 1,000th blow. But I think if you try to look at it, it is the build up towards the 1,000 blows that ended up in breaking the rock. So a lot of times people believe that, yes, there is this particular magical formula, there's this magic pill. There's one thing that we try to apply across a 3-step process, 5-step process, and yes, life will radically change. But let me give you a Toastmasters example. There was this particular Toastmaster club that I heard of. This particular club was a corporate club. And this corporate club had a very generous management, a HR, which believed in learning and developments very sincerely, earnestly, and convincingly. So they decided to ensure that whoever joined that particular Toastmasters club will be sponsored for all the fees that is paid to Toastmasters International. They also ensure that all the snacks and other accolades that were given to them, like the ribbons and the certificates and everything, will be again sponsored by the company. What's more, if a person were to get a certification, then there would be a cash incentive to that particular individual. And if the person represented the corporate club in contests like the club, like the area level and the division level, there was another cash incentive. With a club like that, you'll be rest assured to thinking that, yes, here's a club that is thriving, right? Wrong. This club has got only 10 members and they are struggling to even survive. So which blow actually goes into breaking the rock? Probably nobody knows, but there's a process that is involved. And there's a beauty of the process is the fact that even if you get one component right, you may probably get a lot of other things quite, if you get one thing wrong, you may probably get the other things right. Okay, let's get back to our lessons. Okay, again, I'm turning to Ram. Ram, is it a thumbs up? Yes, every time Ram says thumbs up, that's when I probably change. Now, what happens when you're thrown into a pit? Uncertainty. And when uncertainty tries to envelop us, it literally tears us apart. And when uncertainty seems to be the core component that tries to drive the times that we are living in, the overriding emotion becomes fear. Now, fear is a funny emotion. Nietzsche, the scholar, the philosopher, went ahead and said, the greatest and the strongest of all the emotions is the emotion of fear. And the greatest and strongest of all the fears is the fear of the unknown. So in the realm of the unknown, obviously, a lot of people do not know as to how things are going to pan out. And what do we do when we encounter fear? We tend to probably hide from that fear. Today, there's an entire branch of psychology that's dedicated towards people who are undergoing fear. There are different forms of fear. There's this hysteria, there's panic, there's anxiety, there's OCD. There is a lot of other forms of fear, phobia and a fear, lots of other fear. And one of the basic things that people do when it comes to encountering fear is they hide from it. And what happens when you try to hide from fear? The fear only grows. But what is worse, as Bruce Wayne does, he denies it. He just denies it. He says, no, this cannot be happening to me. No, this should not be happening to me. Now, when you are in a state of denial, when you are in a state of hiding from the overriding emotion, which is considered to be the most powerful of all emotions, obviously, you tend to let that fear grow. There's this wonderful story that is sent now. Okay, simple question. The difference between fear and danger is this. Danger is real, but fear is a choice. The danger of Corona trying to go ahead and encapsulate the entire world being plagued by that particular phenomenon is a staring reality. But the fear is a choice, but fearing it and stopping from doing anything and hiding from it and denying it from it, now that's a choice that we have. Now, there's a story that is sent in Indian mythology about an Indian god. You know, India, we have a lot of gods. So one of the Indian gods in human form decided to go with a friend of his to the forest. Now, this was the good old days where they did not have GPS. They did not have Uber to shuttle them across. There were no safaris to lead them with guided tours. Now, as they were going inside, it was late in the evening, and the god in human form said, why don't we take rest? Our bodies are not taking it, so why don't we just take rest by the tree? Now, we'll take turns. I will sleep till midnight, while you keep a vigil through the till midnight, and after that, I'll wake up and I will look over the surroundings till sunrise. So the day is struck, the god in human form goes to rest, and suddenly the friends hear some growling. And he goes and he sees there's this monster, this huge monster that stands in front of him, and he gets petrified. He starts shivering, his hands are shivering, his legs are quivering, and he doesn't know what to do. And he starts running helter-skelter. And every time he looks at the monster in fear, the monster starts doubling in size. It starts growing to a humongous extent to which it just has to take half a step in order to reach however fast he's running. And finally, when the monster comes pretty close to him, he gives a huge wail and he passes out. Now, listening to the entire commotion, the God in human form wakes up and he sees his friend lying down over there. So he thinks, oh, probably it's midnight and it's my time to keep vigil. So he stretches himself and suddenly sees this huge monster over there. And he looks at the monster and he says, who are you? And he asks a series of questions. He says, what do you want? What are you doing over here? Why do you have the menacing look at us? And with every question that the god tends to pose to the monster starts shrinking in size till the monster becomes 2 or 3 inches. And the god takes that particular monster and puts it in his pocket, and he rests by the tree. The morning, the friend wakes up. He's totally shattered and he says, oh my God, did you realize that there was a monster over here? He was in a menacing mood. He tried to almost eat me up alive. And the god takes up this particular monster and says, are you referring to this cute guy? And he looks and says, how did you make him shrink? And he says, it's very simple. I asked him questions. I looked at him directly into the eye and I asked him questions. Isn't it an amazing way to face fear? You just face fear by just asking questions. Well, a lot of times we tend to hide from fear thinking that it does not quite exist. But when we try to face fear, not hide from it, and pose questions, and then try to take action, then I think there is obviously a transformation. I had a good friend of mine, and she's working in the airline sector. And so the lesson number 1, face your fears. Okay, a good friend of mine. So she was, so challenge your fears. So one good thing about challenge is that it has the word change in it. So one different way of looking at it, as Nike put it, is very simple. Once you challenge something, you're able to change and you become the change that you're looking for. Okay, going back to my friend, I've already mentioned her name thrice, or rather her story thrice now to actually dive into the story. She's working in the airline sector, and obviously, there has been a lockdown. The airline sector is actually taking a nosedive and is probably getting into deep sea, crashing down, to use all the metaphors that are synonymous to crashing, like the business went up in smoke and other things. Yes, everything can be ascribed to the same. Now, she was living in denial and she refused to face her fears. She said, no, things are going to be fine. Everything is going to be fine. The airline sector is going to take off. I'm going to get back my job. And after that, I'm going to fly high. I'm going to go places. But she found that it was not happening. And she was slowly getting into depression. Now, she said, okay, fine. It's time to face my fears. So she started facing her fears and she started asking the right questions. Some of the questions she started asking is, okay, fine. What is the quantum of skill sets that I possess? She said, okay, I'm pretty good in grooming. I'm pretty good in image management. I'm pretty good as far as certain soft skills are concerned. My spoken English is good. My command over certain other languages is also good. And she said, okay, fine. What if? She decided to challenge herself and she initiated the change. The two kinds of change. One is a change which just happens. And second is a change which you can initiate. She initiated the change, and today she's an image consultant, image management consultant. And she does a lot of these online programs. And the last I spoke to her, I was given to understand that she's got 3 batches in a day for a group of people spread across the planet Earth. And every batch has got a minimum of about 30 to 40 people, and sometimes even close to about 50 people. And she's raking twice the kind of money that she was earning in the comfort and the confines of her own house. So the climb, lesson number 1, face your fears, ask the right questions, and just initiate change. The second one, I love this particular dialogue. This is from the first part of the trilogy, where there's this lovely statement, the dialogue that is said, it is not who we are underneath, but what we do that defines us. Today, a lot of clubs, a lot of Toastmasters clubs in particular, ask this fundamental question. Okay, fine. So virtual meetings are no longer fun. Virtual meetings are not the same as real meetings. Virtual meetings, virtual sessions, virtual speeches, virtual presentations are not the same as the live ones. The rush is not there. The energy is not there. You can't even see people in the audience. Yes, if you try and see her, even the sergeant at arms has gone to rest. So you can imagine people don't even turn on the cameras despite the fact that they've been told to turn on the camera. So it is no longer fun. But the point is very simple. It is not who we are, but what we do that tends to define us. Do you remember your Toastmaster promise? Do you remember the pledge that you took when you joined Toastmasters? What did it say? To attend club meetings regularly. Please try to see there's no asterisk over that says asterisk during Corona times you don't need to attend meetings. No, it just says you need to attend meetings regularly. And it says you need to prepare the projects. Again, is there an asterisk over there that says during Corona times you don't need to prepare? No, it's not there. Okay, to prepare for meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluation. You are a Toastmaster not because you say you're a Toastmaster. You are a Toastmaster because of what you do. If I say I'm a motivational speaker, well, I'm a motivational speaker not because I say that I'm a motivational speaker, it's because of what I do. It is you do what you do not because of who you are, but you are who you are because of what you do. It's a complicated statement. I wrote it and I tried to get it right without looking into any kind of notes. You do what you do not because of who you are, but you are who you are because of what you do. I call myself a motivational speaker. And when this lockdown happened, I told myself, yes, probably at the end of the road, I need to wait till such time that yes, the things open up and yes, people tend to call me. And then I found this beautiful platform where we can actually talk virtually to people. And I had this one mission. I said, I'm going to speak to at least people in 25 different countries. So Sergeant at Arms, my passport is not that very full with 20 countries. The 20 countries that I took was a simple mission that I had for myself of addressing people, doing keynote addresses and motivational addresses to different parts of the country. And thank you so much to this District 105 with the 3 countries of Jordan, Lebanon, and UAE. I add on and I reached the mark of 20. Okay, so I have just 5 more left to reach my mission of finishing 25 speeches during the lockdown or during the big C days. Okay, so ask yourself, like, who are you and what do you do? And if you probably say that you are a person who is a doctor, yes, you can still reach out through online assignments. There are today people like physiotherapists who are getting on online and trying to reach out to people in a more effective fashion. Okay, so has anyone heard of this word called through? Yes, my friend Ram will say a thumbs up for everything. He's a very positive person. Okay, I learned this particular word pretty recently from a motivational speaker. He said a through is nothing but a combination of a dream and a goal. Now, a dream is nothing but a thought that is thought of more often, and a goal is something that is got a realistic deadline. Right? A combination of a dream and a goal is obviously a throw. So some people have the throw of saying that, yes, I will climb the Everest by the time I'm 30 or 40, or I will probably reach out to educating at least 20 children from kindergarten to PhD and beyond by this particular time. Now that's a dream clubbed by a goal. Okay, so try to have some throws because that will help you to do what you want to do and eventually hashtag loving what you do. Okay, so have a larger than life purpose. I gave a TED talk and I think it's one of my favorite TED talks because it's very controversial because the talk is all about, it's titled as dreams are overrated. Now, I went about, because why I say it's controversial is because my job as a motivational speaker is to inspire people to pursue their dreams. And here I was trying to give a TED talk saying dreams are overrated. So in that, I went about telling that, yes, there's something greater than dreams, and that is actually a cause. When you surrender your life to a cause, I think it becomes a larger, your life tries to assume a larger than life purpose. All right, so try to chase a cause and have a larger than life purpose, and that will facilitate you to do what you do to be who you actually are. The third lesson, bond with the best. Okay, now in a pit, Bruce Wayne did not have much of a choice. He had very limited people to bond with, but in that limited choice, he decided to bond with the best. A sagacious old man who had so much of wisdom with him, he decided to bond with him. Another person who tried so many times to climb to the top and failed, he tried to bond with them. He tried to bond with people who would tell stories, who would inspire him to climb out of the pit. Now, I hate this term social distancing because I think personally this term is a misnomer. Whoever said about social distancing, I think the person was wrong because what you're talking about is not social distancing, but physical distancing. That's right. There is no such thing as social distancing. What we need in today's world is social intimacy. But there are different kinds of intimacy. There's this first kind of intimacy, which is a physical intimacy. Unfortunately, when we talk about intimacy, people just refer to physical intimacy. But there are other forms of intimacy. The first form of intimacy is experiential intimacy, right? When two people experience something similar, there's a bonding that's built with it. Now, the person on the screen, yes, he's my guru. I call him my management guru. Why? He's my son. He's my 4-year-old son. Why do I call him a management guru? Because managing him makes me feel like a guru. Well, he is one person with whom I have this experiential intimacy. We do a lot of things. After every meeting, he comes up and says, Papa, why don't we click a photograph? And we do the same mannerisms, the same expressions. And today we have a small thing running on Instagram saying hashtag pose, pout, and post. That is hashtag like father, like son. It's an experiential intimacy. Have you ever seen, why is it that friends get together and they talk about something that they did in the past? Why is it that couples say that, okay, fine, why don't we go out and have new experiences by traveling across on a second and a third and a fourth honeymoon? Because they want to experience something together that makes them bond much more effectively. The second form of intimacy is the emotional intimacy. Can you actually bond with a particular person in such a way that the other person feels absolutely comfortable to share anything and everything? Well, the third form of intimacy is probably the intellectual intimacy. Great. So I'd like to share some examples of both the intellectual and the emotional intimacy. There's a club in Dublin, Ireland. It's won the President Distinguished Club status for 21 years straight. 21 years straight without a break. And these people are hell-bent and they're already on the path of getting the President Distinguished status for the year 2020 as well. Next one, Beaver's Toastmasters Club. After every meeting, they go to an ice cream parlor. And I believe in one of the meetings, they decided to take guests also along with them. And they say, it's on us. And do you think the guests got converted? Of course, at least for the ice creams, they got converted. And they said, this is a lovely club. They take us for an ice cream parlor every single time. All right. So in Bahamas, there's a club that meets thrice a week. Would you believe it? Thrice a week. The first time they meet up for planning as to who's going to do what. The second time they meet up for rehearsing how the meeting should be. And the third time, the actual meeting. Right. And there are some clubs that meet probably once in 3 weeks. But this is something which is absolute revelation where they meet thrice a week. Right? Why? There's a kind of an emotional intimacy that is built because we tend to experience the same thing. I belong to a club called DJ's Toastmasters. Yes, it was named after me. I take tremendous pride. People ask me, are you a narcissist? I said, okay, fine. If you feel so, so be it. But I remember several years ago, I went to this particular workshop and a motivational speaker asked this question: if you were to die tomorrow, what is the legacy that you would like to leave behind? And I thought to myself, I have no legacy to leave behind. Back in the day, I was not even married, so there's not even a legacy in terms of a son that I could leave behind. So I was thinking to myself, I said, okay, the only thing that I truly love is Toastmasters. So why don't I leave a legacy as a Toastmasters club? So I said, let me have a name called DJ's Toastmasters. People started asking me, oh, who do you think you are? Dr. Ralph C. Smedley calling a name, a Toastmaster club after you. And I went about telling them it's not about me. I still remember the very first presidential address that I gave. I went about telling people, see, it's not about me. It is about a legacy. I want everybody in this club to go ahead and leave a legacy. So back in the day, we had something called the Competent Communicator Certification, which is the first 10 projects or the first 10 speeches that you finish. And on an average, it took about 3 months for people to get it. And I told, okay, fine, why don't you take up this challenge and why don't the fastest competent Toastmasters be from our club? And 4 people, all 4 were women, took up this particular challenge, and all 4 of them finished the Competent Communicator Toastmaster certification in less than 3 weeks. It was a record of sorts, because it was humongous amount of burden for the mentors, for the speakers, and everything. Subsequently, there's a girl who joined our club, and we asked her the simple question, okay, fine, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? She thought for a while, and she said, okay, what is the highest level Distinguished Toastmaster certification? Who's the youngest Distinguished Toastmaster? And we tried to Google it, and we figured out a person who was the youngest Distinguished Toastmaster, the highest level of recognition, was a person who's 22 years old, and this girl was 18, and she said, okay, I want to break that record. And she got the Distinguished Toastmaster certification in less than 21 years. Okay, I believe that even that record is broken. But when you're trying to have a kind of intimacy where you're trying to say that, yes, you're free to be whoever you want to, people would like to join your organization, your Toastmaster club, and your inner circle. All right. Now, these are the seeds that you plant. I'm sure all of you heard of the story, the squirrel. Now, squirrel's got a short-term memory loss. And the good part about the short-term memory loss is he takes a lot of nuts and he buries it in some distinct places, and he forgets where he's buried it. So what happens is those nuts sprout up and they result in a beautiful garden. And if he had remembered everything, he would have probably digged up everything and there would have been no trees whatsoever. So you never know what you're planting. Please don't say you're planting nuts over there. Like, yes, some family trees have more nuts than others. That was a topic given in one of the topic sessions for me. And I really did not know why that particular topic was given to me. But nevertheless, I think you would be planting a lot of seeds. Okay, intellectual intimacy. Do people have the ability to speak whatever they want? I remember when I joined Toastmasters, I went to some heavy reading. I was into reading works of Thoreau, Walden, and essays of Emerson and Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged and other things. And if I were to talk to my friend, they may think, oh, you're a show-off. What are you trying to show off with all this nonsense? But I found that, yes, there's a place where I could go, and that is a place called Toastmasters. So a simple elevator pitch that you can put for Toastmasters is not about telling, things which people usually tell, right? I've seen people who have, when it comes to their elevator pitch for Toastmasters, they make the most pathetic pitches ever. Well, I'm not making this up. This is something that I found. A prospective member wanted to join a club, and this particular a gentleman was escorted to the vice president membership, and this is exactly what the vice president membership said. Do you know about Toastmasters? The person said no. Okay, Toastmasters was started in the year 1924 by a visionary called Dr. Ralsei Smedley in the basement of a YMCA building in Santa Ana, California, USA. And today, more than about 1 million people were baptized by the fire of Toastmasters, and a lot of organizations on the planet Earth, including leading educational institutions, swear by the power of Toastmasters to empower them with communication and leadership skills. Would you like to be a Toastmaster? No prizes for guessing whether the person came back to Toastmasters or not. Obviously, the person just walked away and said, "Oh my God, what is this?" Right? So obviously, I think, it is really difficult for you to get into the person's intimate zone, if I were to put it across, if you were to be so very corporatish as far as your pitch is concerned, right? Now, on the contrary, I think this is something that I tried and I quite liked it, because there was this friend of mine. It was his birthday in the month of May. May was the pinnacle of the lockdown season. And I wished him and I said, "Okay, fine. How's the lockdown treating you?" And he told me, he's a guy with an amazing sense of humor. And he said, "DJ, the greatest sin that was ever committed to mankind is this, where a man and a woman can be locked down in a house and they'll be asked to stay safe. How can you ever think of doing that? It is probably the worst sin imparted to a man." And he started blurting out. And I said, "Dude, why don't you come this Sunday to our club?" As it's a Sunday club. And I said, "Why don't you come to our club on Sunday?" And he said, "No, DJ." I said, "Give us an opportunity to at least to blow a virtual cake and to have some fun." And he came, and I told the table topic person, "Please give this as a topic to him." The same topic. The worst sin of lockdown is when a man and a woman are locked in a particular house and asked to be or stay safe. He spoke for 5 minutes. The timer flashed all the red cards. He didn't bother. He just said, "No, this is my opportunity." That was his intellectual intimacy. And the vice president membership called up and said, "Would you like to give a speech?" He said, "I already did." So I think the place, I mean, do you provide a place or a platform so that people could feel free to talk whatever they want, besides, of course, sex, religion, and politics, which are considered to be taboo topics, but besides that, like anything that they feel like. So I think the three effective ways to put a sales pitch for Toastmasters: try to talk about, do you have something to express? Obviously, I think there's a good place to go to, and that is Toastmasters. Do you have uh, and if you were to make people more comfortable, I think you will definitely see results. I still remember there was this particular person who came to our club. He was a college student, and he's very shy. He was hanging around in a corner, and I asked him this question. "Okay, fine. So is this the first time you're coming to any public speaking society?" He said, "No, I had been to a public speaking society before. It was actually from a personality development institute." And I said, "Okay, what happened over there, if it's not too personal?" He said, "No, the trainer over there was very sarcastic. He had such cutting sarcasm that it was very funny for the members of the audience, but I'm a very shy and introverted person. And it was very hurting every time he used to give us feedback." Now, I said, "Okay, fine. We will be more sensitive and mindful of that if you were to be a part of our club." And we took in that particular individual. He loved the way in which we used to give him nice constructive feedback. He was emotionally bonded with a lot of people in our club. And it is 17 years since that boy joined our club, and he's still a member of our club. He went for 2 years to Thunderbird University in the US to finish his master's in business administration in international business. But he still decided to keep his membership alive in our club, because he said, "There's an emotional intimacy that bonds me with that particular club, and nothing, no matter what distance, physical, can go ahead and stop me from being a part of this particular club." So if you can create that sense of emotional intimacy, intellectual intimacy, and social intimacy, obviously you have people here to stay. So lesson number 4, you need a team. Right. So I think the difference between a group and a team is this: a group is nothing but a collection of people, but a team is the one that has got it's a formal representation of a group, and it's got a deeper and a greater purpose. Now, Bruce Wayne thinks that, yes, he can climb out of the pit all by himself, but suddenly he realized that no, he needs a team. He needs a team to help him physically. He needs a team to help him emotionally, socially, and intellectually. So he tries to take the support of everyone before he tries to climb out of the pit. Okay. Now, climb for others and not for yourself. Right. So thank you so much for Vidya for mentioning this one particular exercise that I did. I think if you ask me, one of my greatest accomplishments or contribution to on behalf of Toastmasters, it is this. For getting my distinguished Toastmaster certification, I had to do something called the High Performance Leadership Project. Now, I said, okay, fine, let this not be about me. Let this be about someone else. I still remember I told this idea to a lot of people, but a lot of them tried to negate it. So I went to this hospital. It's called the HCG Foundation in the city that I live in, Bangalore. And as a fellow Toastmaster who was a medical director, he took me on rounds and he took me to the pediatric ward. And this little boy of 13 years old in the pediatric ward, he looks at me, my hairdo or the lack of it, and he looks at me, he says, "Do you also have cancer?" I said, "No, this is trending, man." And he had a broad smile on his face. And I asked the doctor, "How is he doing?" And the doctor said, "I don't think he can make it because there is an imminent need for chemotherapy and the other procedures that we need to warrant with immediate effect." And he comes from a very, very poor family. They cannot even afford to get him from his village to the city. As a matter of fact, they get him in a truck that has got all these vegetables, like all these all these sack of potatoes and other things. And they don't put him in a sack of tomatoes because he would probably squish it all. So they put him in a sack of potatoes, and the boy wakes up in the morning. He cries on the arms of his father, and he says, "Dad, I cannot sleep on the sack of potatoes because it's breaking my back." And the father cries along with him, and he says, "My son, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm in such abject poverty." Now, I told myself, yes, is there something that I can do? And I said, this is really a high performance leadership project. The only skill, the only talent, the only gift that I have is the power of speaking. Thanks again to Toastmasters International. And I told myself, why don't I do something through which I could raise funds? And I dabbled this idea of doing a 100 speech marathon. And the minute I told a lot of people, including a few people in my club, and they said, 100 speech marathon, you're going to speak for 100 speeches, and you believe people are going to sit and listen to you? Come on, you must be having some pipe dreams. And I went ahead, thanks to one of the district officers who gave me a platform. There are more than about 100 people in that particular platform. I was a keynote speaker there. After finishing my address, I asked this particular coordinator, "Can you give me 2 more minutes?" And I told them I'm going to do a 100 speech marathon. The district director of District 92 at that time, and I'm glad that I would like to acknowledge the presence of this particular lady, Banita Rangarajan, and a host of others who's already there. All of them immediately came up to me and they disclosed the amount that they would be paying even before I had an online platform for the funds to be raised. It is more than 2 years since the exercise was done, and I'm so proud, and I'm so grateful to everybody in Toastmasters saying that that boy is still alive. Thanks to the fact that, yes, you can do something greater. And I'm not saying that I did it all by myself. I needed a team. I needed a team to go ahead and help me out. I needed a team that would go ahead and publicize it. I needed a team that could set up a place. One of the district officers was helpful enough to me to getting a huge auditorium, that would take more than 1,500 people. The acoustics, everything was free. Another person decided to go ahead and ensure that he would coordinate with the online platform, the fundraising platform, and everything. Right. So it takes a team for you to go ahead and do that. And I think it's been one of the most gratifying exercises. So today people ask me, what is it that Toastmasters can do to you? It can empower you. I said, no, it can do beyond that. It can save a life. It can, yes, save a life. Because the hashtag that I had for the entire promotion was this: can oratory save a life? Hashtag, yes, it can. Can public speaking save a life? Hashtag, yes, it can. Can Toastmasters save a life? Hashtag, yes, it definitely can. And it did. Okay, so right, so climb for others, not for yourself. And I think halfway through the program, yes, as I was doing it, I still remember I was so beat, and I thought, okay, fine, I could not carry on. But I think when I finally released the last leg, and I'd like to mention over here, yes, our club wrote, our PQD, our program quality director. At that time, she was not the program quality director, Vanita. She bought us a plum cake because it was during the Christmas season, our homemade plum cake. And she distributed it to everyone when the thing was over. So sometimes when you try to climb for others and not for yourself, you don't know where you get energy from. You really don't know where you get energy. You get financial energy from others. You get physical energy from others. You get social energy, emotional energy. And those are mind-blowing reservoirs of motivation for you to climb out of a particular pit. Okay, so if you were to go for flight school, they teach you this particular concept called as crabbing. Now, crabbing is very simple. Now, if you are flying an aircraft from a point A to a point B, how do you go? Very simple. You take a straight line and you go from a point A to point B. Pretty simple, right? No rocket science involved in that. But just imagine if there are crosswinds that are there, crosswinds that are blowing so that it is able to take you ground, it's able to take you lower. If you were to be at the same altitude, instead of going to a point C, you go downward towards a point C. So in a flight school, they teach you if there are crosswinds, and if you want to travel from a point A to a point B, what you do is you angle for something that is at a higher destination or a higher altitude so that you are able to angle at D, and even if there are crosswinds, you're able to reach to a point B. So the more the crosswinds, the more you need to raise your altitude. The more the challenges, the more the obstacles, the more the hurdles in your path. Remember, if your flight really has to take off and it really has to climb, you need to go ahead and alter yourself to a point D, to a point E, to a point F, so that eventually you can reach your destination of your point B. All right? I love this particular quotation that was said by the philosopher, the scientist, and the author Goethe. He said, if you treat an individual as he is, he'll remain how he is. But if you treat him as he were, what he ought to be and what he could be, he will become what he ought to be and what he could be. Some people call it the Pygmalion effect, right? So if you look at a person as he is, probably he'd become just the same, right? So, but if you had to probably project a person beyond, I think you'll find that, yes, there is a possibility of limitless growth. Okay, fine. The last lesson is this: let go of the ropes. Now, the beauty of the entire movie is this, or this particular scene is just this. He tries to climb every single time with ropes and he fails. He fails the first time, he fails the second time, and he fails the third time. And then he goes about bonding with the best and he asks people, is there anyone who managed to climb out of this particular mess? And they said, yes, a child did. And he doesn't take it pretty seriously. And towards the end of his entire intimate dialogue with one of the seniors, he tells him, let me tell you how the child climbed out. The child let go of the ropes. It is one thing to climb with the ropes of the past, the ropes of conditioning, social conditioning, of personal conditioning that has kept us grounded for years, or for decades. And it's another thing just to let go. Sometimes when you tend to let go, you are in a better position to reaching out, as happens in the climax of the movie, where he lets go of the ropes and he's able to climb out of the pit pretty effortlessly. Well, my dear friends, when we try to climb onto the past, obviously, I think we are trying to project the past into the future. There's a theory in management sciences which is called regression, where they try to take past data and they put it in the future. That's how a lot of market analysis is done, where people will try to project the same sales figures of the past and they try to project it in the future. Your past is not equal to your future. Anthony Robbins puts it even more better. He says, your yesterday is not equal to your tomorrows. You're not the same. If I were to go by my past, I was a very shy, a very, very reticent, and a very reserved child. I was so shy that I couldn't speak to more than 3 people at a time. The sight of 5 people would make me wish I was not born at all. As a matter of fact, uh, at my house, I think I was probably I belonged to a family where everybody was a glib speaker and a glib or a very articulate conversationalist. And I was the most introverted person. And I used to invent games to myself. My sister had a lot of friends, and almost every other day, the gang of girls, it's just called a giggle of girls. I was corrected recently. It's not a gang of girls, it's a giggle of girls. A giggle of girls used to come home and they used to spend a lot of time. And every time my sister used to get a giggle of friends, I used to go to the terrace and I used to play a game all to myself, a game called cricket, where I used to bounce the ball to the walls and I used to keep playing it all to myself. But if I were to think that, yes, that is my past and that cannot be, and that has to be projected into the future, I don't think I'd be sitting in front of you and making this presentation. Okay, so I'll just summarize as of now. The first lesson is face your fears. Second thing, when it comes to facing your fears, don't hide from your fears. Face your fears by asking the right questions and initiate change. Okay. Second thing, it's not what we are underneath, but it's what we do that defines us, because it's not who we are that makes us do what we do, but it's what we do that defines who we are. The third thing, bond with the best. I think the good part about this virtual setup is that we are able to bond with a lot of people. Recently, I met this person in California, thanks to the virtual setup, and she said, I am a noble cousin. And I said, oh my God, what is that supposed to mean? And she said, you have no idea what it means. Okay, my dad is a Nobel Prize winner. And I said, wow, that is impressive. I believe that children of Nobel Prize winners are called noble cousins. I really don't understand English, because I think it should be called noble children, not noble cousins, but then again, that's what they called us. So I was able to bond. I was able to learn a lot about the lives of the people who are Nobel Prize winners, at least. And I believe all the noble cousins were actually boarded onto a flight when her father received the Nobel Prize. You need a team. Yes, the good part about a team is that a team is able to share your burden, and it's able to ensure that you're not the only person who's carrying the entire world upon your shoulders. Climb for others, not for yourself. Right? Sometimes when you do something for others, you find that there's a relentless amount of energy and amount of energy that is summoned, that is able to make you do the climb much more effortlessly. Sixth one is go crabbing, and the last one is let go of the ropes, the gravitational forces that are pulling you down, the forces of the past, the forces of ridicule, and the forces that are playing in your mind as negative energies. Okay, fine. So I'd like to play this entire video for you, and I don't know whether the audio is. If it is not, I think I request my friend Ram to go ahead and play it. Okay, so, okay, fine, great. So when he is climbing, okay, here's a simple trivia for all of you. Anyone can unmute yourself and you can probably answer this question. When he's climbing, now, all of them keep chanting one word. And do you know what the word is? Anyone? Okay, it's also a backdrop of, a BGM by Hans Zimmer. They chant one word in a different language. Okay, it's a 4-letter word, and it's not a bad word, it's not a cuss word. It's a 4-letter word. All of them keep chanting, rise, rise, rise in their native tongue. There is one particular place where rise is a corporate credo, and that particular place is called Toastmasters. RISE is an acronym for respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So my dear friends, go ahead and rise from the pit that you're being thrown into, because that is the credo through which that makes us who we are. So I request Ram to play the video, because I'm having a problem with this thing. Ram is always a thumbs up person. Okay, fine. Yeah, he's going to play the entire video, so sit back and enjoy. If you have some popcorns and Coke, please go ahead and enjoy yourself as you play a 3-minute video, which just shows, for those people who have not seen it, this is the ultimate spoiler alert. Yeah, if you could share it on the screen, Ram.
He says they lead to freedom.
Okay, thank you so much, Ram. Yes, sorry for the video quality. Yes, I think it's buffering over there. Just blame it on the big C. Okay, fine. The floor is open. Yes, I see a green card over there. The floor is open for any questions, any clarification, any additions. I have my friend Michael Warder from Russia, an American in Russia. He's got a lethal combination. He's posed a question to me. It's more of a statement. He says, open your heart to listen to a potential member before you open your mouth to speak. And with amazing wisdom. Yes, Michael, I would like to get you in. You could probably respond to it. Yes, the man of the purple rain. Yes, you could probably share your wisdom and your on that. It's more of a question that I have to pose to you. Yes, could you please elaborate?
DJ, I know you already know this, but many other people don't. When we're out there trying to find new Toastmaster members, often the number one thing we're interested in is our success. We should not be interested in our success. We should be listening to the other person who we want to be a member, and we want to make them successful. When we ask a member to join Toastmasters, we're not helping Toastmasters, we're helping individuals. So we should listen to them with our heart first before we try to invite them in and explain what Toastmasters is. If you do this, you're going to have a much greater success. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, the floor is open for any questions. If I can answer, please pose all the easy questions to me. The difficult question, Michael is there. Yeah.
Thank you, DJ, for this amazing speech. I mean, I think everyone is mesmerized and just, it's got inspired. We need such kind of topics, such kind of open-heartedness in such challenging times. And I think this topic came just at the right time for everyone, not only for Toastmasters, but also on the personal level. We're all going through different challenges, different fears, different uncertainties on different levels, no matter where we come from, East and West. I think this is the first time in the world that we all unite in facing one fear and one uncertainty, the unknown future. So thank you so much for the uplifting talk. I mean, on behalf of District 105, thank you so much for gracing our growth series and being our a tremendous growth series speaker today. And I would like to carry on with the a number of questions. I've been receiving a lot of questions privately. So I'll just give them to you one by one, and then we have the liberty to answer them. The first question that I had was, what do you advise club members to do to overcome the main challenge of losing members?
Okay, fantastic. There are two ways of going about it. Number one is to chase the old members or to search for new members. The good part about it is the world is still a heavily populated place. Even if you lose the old, you can always get the new. And everybody's got challenges and problems that they need to face. And one of the most overriding factor is communication. That would probably be a cure for a lot of solutions, for a lot of problems. I remember my mentor telling me, if you were to master communication skills, or if you were to develop a decent level of mastery in communication skills, you'll never fail in life. How much you succeed depends on a lot of other factors, including luck, but you'll never fail in life. And I use it pretty effectively because when it comes to interpersonal relationships, when it comes to presentation skills, when it comes to survival skills, I think communication is the core. So as a corporate trainer, I say that, for a lot of skills that are required, decision-making, creativity, everything, team building, communication is at the heart or the bedrock. So I think people need to master communication skills, and nobody can claim to be an absolute master. We're still students. We're still trying to find better ways of communicating. We're trying to reinvent ourselves with the changing times, and I think it's still relevant. So one way is trying to look at today, I think a lot of people have this problem. It's not that they do not want to attend. In my club, when we did a small dipstick study, a dipstick is a term taken from statistics, where it's not a formally structured questionnaire. We tried to do an informal study by just calling up people and asking, why are you not coming? And a lot of people said, 6 days in a week, we are hooked onto a screen. You want the 7th day also to be hooked onto the screen? Please give us a break. So that is the issue that should be addressed. The issue is not a lack of motivation. The issue is actually overload. So can this be a refreshing break for them? So we try to make a lot of interesting meetings. We had a Roald Dahl special. September 13th happened to be a Roald Dahl. It was his birth anniversary. So we had a reenactment of one of those Roald Dahl plays, which was done virtually. It was called The Umbrella Man. So we had people putting up a backdrop of rains and people acting as the Umbrella Man. And I think it came across with a great degree it was met with a great degree of excitement, and a lot of people wanted to be a part of it. So can you come across with something innovative and involve the people who are dormant members, if I were to say, and address what are the core issues? Is that they're working on the day in which you're having the meetings also? Because today work from home has got a different meaning altogether. Work from home means my boss has got a complete access to my personal and my private life, which means whenever he calls me at around 10 o'clock and he says okay, fine, why don't you go ahead and give me this particular report? And he says, yeah, either way you're at home, right? Just go ahead and furnish to me by around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. And yes, tomorrow 9 o'clock, we'll have a meeting. All right. So that kind of an overload is what is one of the reasons that we identified. And we address them by trying to say that, okay, fine, it's a break away from work. So please don't consider it to be another, torture or a torment as far as you're concerned. And look at new members. There are a lot of people who are really looking at acing the presentations virtually. A lot of people are struggling with making virtual presentations. A lot of people do not know where to look at. I still remember, the first time I went for a meeting, I saw some bizarre pictures. Some person has actually got a camera below him. You could see the fan, the chandelier, everything. And suddenly you can see his wife walking in the backdrop, the dog sitting on his lap. You could see everything happening. And that's probably one of the reasons people switch off their cameras. So people really do not know how to address. So I guess this is a great platform for us to be in sync with the times, and to move with the times and to be the agents of change.
Very well said. The second question, you mentioned to face fear by asking questions. How do you know that we're asking the right questions? Sometimes
Good.
you only have one chance to ask the right question.
Okay, good. In that case, ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions so that you never know. Probably one of the questions will be the right ones. I think everything is contextual. I think the question is, okay, I'll probably personalize it. I started my career in advertising, and yes, I started a business. I set up a creative hot shop. That's just a fancy term for an advertising agency. And we had a massive, single point objective. We said our single-minded proposition is this: you give us any brief and we could probably furnish the creatives in less than 24 hours. So we were the 24-hour creative hotshop. You want a television commercial to be made, 24 hours, the script is ready. You want to make a corporate film, 24 hours, script is ready. You want to make a website, the basic template and skeletal is ready within 24 hours. So we are the 24-hour agency. But you know what happened? The client used to take after that another 1 month to decide. So the whole purpose was defeated. You say, I get back to you. I'll get back to you. I will get back to you. We're still deliberating on it. So the entire objective was not met. And we were really burning the midnight oil. We were really stretching the resources that we have, the human resources that we had, and we had to still pay for people. And sometimes we had to outsource it because people are already tied up with working with 2 or 3 different clients. So the overheads went up, and obviously, I think we could not sustain the business, and we had to close shop. So at that time, obviously, I was scared. I was trained to be an advertising person. I was trained to be a creative person. Only exposure that I had towards creativity and towards advertising. So where am I going to go? So the question that I asked myself is, okay, fine, can I get another job? Now people are going to say, okay, you failed in business. So what makes you think that you can succeed in advertising again? Second thing is, I didn't want to go work under someone. When you're probably independent, you don't like working under someone. Do I want to work under someone? Then after that, I found that I moved into a different stream altogether. And that is empowering people through the power of, imparting skills to them. And I found that there's more creativity here. There's a lot more creativity here in empowering people through training and motivational talks than with anything else. Early this year, I gave a motivational talk, and my talk was in the afternoon. And they said that is the graveyard shift. People have a sumptuous meal, and the last thing on their mind is to listen to a person giving a motivational talk. So what I told this organizer is, can I join you people for lunch? I don't want to have the lunch. I just want to hang around with you people because I want to ask some questions. So what I did, I took a lot of selfies. And I shared and asked them to share their stories about what they felt about the organization, their best moments and everything. And when I started my motivational talks, I started presenting their pictures. I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me a few stories to tell. And I presented their story. And then everybody was looking, oh my God, I said something over the boss. Is he going to disclose that story? And everyone was sitting on the edge of their seats. I found there's more creativity depending on how you look at it. And I started asking myself the question, what is the quantum of talent that I have, and what is the reservoir of talent that I can cash in on? I said, okay, I think I'm a decent communicator. I think I'm good and creative, and I'm unabashed in expressing my creativity, even if people were to laugh at it. So I said that, okay, fine, this and which is the field that can probably fund me or pay me for that. And then I found a particular stream. So ask yourself more questions if you're not sure about it. And there are always people that you can ask, people like Michael Warder, all the way from Russia. Michael, what's the time in Russia right now? What's the time right now?
2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay,
2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, I didn't wake you up in the wee hours of the morning. Okay.
No, but I just finished lunch before you talked. I just finished lunch before you started talking.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, fine. So people, are not disturbed in unearthly hours. You have people who have an amazing amount of wisdom that you can probably tap in on.
Okay, thank you, Deepak. The next question is, how to motivate members to make them live up to the TM promise?
Okay, great. Please reinforcing the promise. I think every single meeting you should ask them to tell the promise. Trust the heart, take a pledge. Let them be true to themselves, which I think is very important. And I think I put it this way: during tough times, I keep telling the most of the teams very simply one particular thing. Look at one meeting at a time and make every meeting a resounding success. That's all it takes. You don't need to go ahead and think 6 months down the line, 8 months down the line, one meeting at a time. That's all it takes. And that's all we have. One day at a time is how we live life. So one meeting at a time, focus your entire energies, try to make this one particular meeting excellent. And you never know, it has a snowballing effect. Eventually, you have people who probably buy into the entire thing and they say that, yes, we'd like to. I remember when DJ's Toastmasters started, in one occasion, we had 3 people attending a meeting. Would you believe it? 3 people. And out of that, one person was a guest. How disgusting is that? Now, I was a speaker. I had to evaluate myself. I was a general evaluator. I had to evaluate my own evaluation. How pathetic can that be? And I remember this other person who just signed up, the guest came up to him and he asked him this question, do you think this club is going to survive? And this is something that member told me later. He said that person way back in time, he asked me this question, do you think this club will survive? 3 people attending a meeting. How pathetic is that? And he said, look at the fire that person has got. Look at the commitment the person has got. And look at the commitment I've got to sitting over here for 2 hours. And look at the commitment you've got. Come on, 3 of us can make a difference. And he quoted Martin Sheen, who went ahead and said this beautiful line, 1 person with conviction is a majority. 1 person with conviction is a majority. And he said, we have 3 people with conviction. Yes, we can make a difference. And that's how we grew. And we are here, 17 years in existence. And yes, not a single term has been without us not paying our dues. So 10 years on the run, we've been distinguished, president distinguished. And for the past 5 years, 4 of the years, we've had the ISC champion from our club. So something was right somewhere, right? So,
Absolutely.
so just focus on 1 meeting at a time. That's simple. Please don't think too much in time. Don't think 3 years down the line, what will happen? 1 year down the line, what will happen? The next term, is it ready? Don't think. 1 meeting at a time, 1 area contest at a time, 1 area conference, 1 division conference, 1 particular district conference. Take it 1 at a time. I think you'll definitely succeed. You'll never fail. And give your best.
You mentioned to bond with the best. How do you
Yes.
define the best? I mean, sometimes in leadership, we see people who misuse their titles and manipulate others, even, intimidate others. What do you have to
Okay.
say about that?
Okay, I met a person recently and he told me that he read the works of a legend who is known for a lot of good deeds that he's performed. For obvious reason, I don't want to mention the name of that particular legend in history. And he said this particular legend was looked up to in time. He said, I read about all the misgivings of that particular individual, the bad side, the dark side of this particular individual. And he said, I've done a research for about 2 years and I know this person doesn't deserve a place in history. And I looked and I said, oh, you spent 2 years in trying to dig into the dark side of a person, where you could have spent just 2 hours in trying to look at the brighter side of the person and trying to have a rub off of that. There's a best in each and every single person, right? So you can really tap into that particular best in everybody. Sometimes my 4-year-old son tries to teach me a lot. And I think sometimes if I get a backache, he's the best physiotherapist. You know what he does? He kicks me in the back. And I really don't know what is that particular therapy called. He lies in the bed and he tries to vent out his entire frustration. He tries to kick me and my backache is gone. It is just gone. So anyone who's got kids, you got a backache, please ask them to lie down, provoke them a little bit and try to leave there. And they'll probably give you the best massage that you can ever get in the form of their kicking. So you can learn from everybody. And that's his best. That's the best side of him, because I think no matter what medication, nothing you take, just the kicking will do the world of a difference. And the next I'm up on my feet, so you can learn from everybody. The question is very simple. What do you want to learn? Do you want to learn the dark side of the person or the bright side of the person? Yes, obviously we are a mixture of both, amalgam of the good and the bad. That's what makes us who we are. So we don't need to search for the best, right? Invariably, the best doesn't have the time for you. So try to find the best in everyone and you'll definitely find that there's something to learn.
How to build emotional intimacy among club members?
Okay, try to have rituals. That's what I'd say. Have simple rituals in which you can say, again, I'm quoting Vanita Rangraj, and I'll never forget, the plum cake, most delectable than any Christmas plum cake that I've ever had. You try to, she made a homemade plum cake and she brought it across for everybody, right? And try to have rituals. Try to go out once in a while. Try to have, we usually have a movie day out. We're waiting for the movie Tenet, and in our country, we're still waiting. Right, so when the movie Tenet eventually releases, we will all go together and watch it because we're all Christopher Nolan fans. And yes, after social distancing, after the vaccination comes, by that time, I think Christopher Nolan would have made another movie also, probably would have made a Tenet Part 2. So we will all go to movies, we'll probably do a lot of things together. And simple things like every birthday celebration, I'm sure most clubs actually do that. right? So once in a while, we also have a roast and toast in a very friendly manner. So, and there are some people in our club, I mean, they asked me to roast them in particular because they did have a malicious pleasure in doing that. Right? There's one person who's extraordinarily thin. So there are roasts like in a world of 3 dimension, 4 dimensions, and 5 dimensions, it's such a refreshing break to see someone who's 2 dimensional. He always carries a backpack with him because he gives the illusion that he is 3 dimensional personality. So this kind of roast that happens, it warms up everybody. And it's not that that person sits back. He gives back a counter, which is far more caustic than the roast itself. Right. So I think we have our own fun. So I think you could probably find your own rituals. As I said, I think clubs have their own cultures. Different clubs have different cultures. So I think you can find out as to what is the culture, and it should sync with your culture. If you're having a boss over there in your midst, you can't roast him or her.
So I think this also to answer the next question, which is the club in Dublin that you mentioned. What is the difference that they make for them to be able to get this achievement 21 years in a row?
Okay, I heard this from Margaret Page. I think I just took it from Margaret Page, who was the international president-elect who addressed a gathering recently. And I think so. I think the perfect person to be walling that particular question is, I think, Margaret Page. So I think I quoted it because I thought it was a true inspiration. 21 years on the run, I don't think it's a mean achievement. So I think they're pretty focused. And once it becomes discipline, the momentum surely makes you move ahead. And momentum is a huge word. I studied physics, and I love this particular analogy. Someone said, right, a train that is going at a particular speed, right, say 100 kilometers per hour, if it is going at that particular speed, by the sheer momentum, it can break a wall, a huge concrete wall, which is about 6 feet, with all the best of cement on this planet Earth. But at the same time, you try to take a small block of wood and place it across on the track, and the train is about to move. It cannot break even that small block of wood. Momentum can do wonders. So sometimes I think you create a momentum, and the momentum will result in you cracking just about any barrier that comes across your way. And over a period of time, you have a lot of learned lessons, shared experience, and all this can be carried forward. Best practices, and all these can be definitely carried forward. Right? In our club, if we do not have any members who are speaking, we have a debate. So it's the simplest way of engaging everybody, and everybody is very interested in lashing out at each other. And we try to give something which is very interesting, right? I still remember we had a debate on son or daughter, does it matter? That was the title that was given. And this particular lady who was speaking against the proposition, she said, speaking for the proposition, she said, son or daughter, yes, it does matter. Son or daughter, in today's world, in the 21st century, in the year 2020, yes, it does matter, because women are any day superior. It does matter for a father, because women are superior. He should be gifted that he got a daughter. It does matter for the mother. It does matter for the society, because we women are superior. She took a different slant for it altogether. We had once a debate on euthanasia, and this person took it off and said, yes, youth in Asia are very powerful. The youth in Asia are very special people. He took off by initiating the entire debate by trying to talk about the youth in Asia, right? Because the master of ceremonies for the day's pronunciation was in such a way that he actually pronounced it as youth in Asia and not euthanasia, So certain rituals that you can possibly have will definitely make a world of difference.
Thank you. Another question, probably a general impression, is that meetings are very formal, wherein people they go for self-glorification and social media consciousness rather than actual communication.
That's a bane of our times. Okay. Today, anything and everything that we are doing, yes, we're going to put it across in social media. So it is probably something that even I'm a victim of. So I think the last thing that I'm going to ask all of you to do is please switch on your camera so that we can take a picture. Otherwise, people don't believe you. My wife is staying outside and she'll be believing, did you seriously go and give a talk, or were you watching Netflix? So so I think the bane of the times that we are living in. Yes, it's good to be socially conscious. And I think that being the case, you can say that, yes, I'd like to appreciate Rajendran over there. Look at him. The man is wearing a mask. He's driving a car. He's putting his camera on, and he's driving, and he's attending this meeting. Thumbs up to you, man. A big shout out to you. You're amazing, huh? wherever you're from. And where are you going? Huh? Probably he's going to attend a Toastmasters meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the way your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Rajay.
The next question is how to encourage members to attend virtual meetings. Now we see many seniors, they promote that virtual meetings are destructive, ineffective, and demotivate guests to join. And we've seen this in many cases. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, fine. I would probably deflect that question to Michael. Michael is one of the youngest members who tries to wear a mask that he's a senior member. Michael, this is yours. Up your sleeve. Take it away. Huh?
Repeat the question one more time, please.
What inspires you to join Toastmasters and attend virtual meetings? And would you believe it? He's going for another meeting. He's about to go for another meeting. I'm sorry I caught you on the wrong foot. Michael,
No problem. DJ,
what inspires you? A lot of people are complaining that virtual meetings are not interesting. They are boring. A lot of senior members are telling that, yes, new members are not going to come. Yeah.
I have to go. But not till I answer your question first. I was a Toastmaster for 10 years. I was out for 25 years, and people ask me, why did I come back? What motivated me to come back? The same thing I think that motivates the right people when you speak to them correctly. They asked me, Michael, what are you good at? And I said, oh, I like to speak. They said, are you a Toastmaster? I said, no. They said, you like to speak, but you're not a Toastmaster. That doesn't make sense. Why don't you think about Toastmasters? We all know a lot of people at work who love to talk. These are ideal candidates for Toastmasters. Get people inspired, get them a chance to succeed. And don't talk about, like I said earlier, don't talk about how you are going to succeed. Tell them how they are going to succeed. What is the opportunity for them? Everybody likes to hear that they have an opportunity. You give them an opportunity to grow and be better, they're going to jump at it. You tell them how good you want to be or how good your club is, they really don't care. They're interested in themselves first. So give them the opportunity that motivates them, that puts the fire in their belly, gets them excited, makes them want to do things. That's what you need to do.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. Sorry for holding you back. Yes, you got another
meeting.
Thank
you, Michael, for answering the question.
Yep.
Going to another meeting. See you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. The next question, you mentioned letting go of the ropes. Now, can you give any tips on how to particularly implement it?
Okay.
From a club point of view. I mean, because you said we have to let go of the ropes. So how would that translate in for clubs? What are the ropes for them?
Okay, fine. So there's a lesson that I learned in advertising, and they said that you're as good as your last campaign. And I extend the same analogy towards everything. You're as good as your last speech. You're as good, and you cannot rest on your laurels. You need to keep reinventing yourself. I was reading this book by Yuval Noah called The 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, in which he says, the people who are going to succeed in the future are the people who are going to adapt and learn to reinvent. So if you're clinging onto the past, and if you're clinging onto the ropes of the past, either the failures of the past or the laurels of the past, somehow I think you'll be a forgotten page in history. So you need to try to acquire new skills. As Jim Rohn said, later Jim Rohn said, don't be caught napping with just one skill. So try to keep reinventing yourself so that you acquire new skills. And today, you need to know how to master the virtual presentation or the virtual stage. You need to know how to address audiences, how to look into the camera and pretend that people are in the camera and establishing eye contact in the camera and still looking at people for feedback. You need to know how to tailor your content with regard to presentations that are more virtual. And yes, when we get back offline, yes, we will try to adapt ourselves because this is here to stay. So in a way, I think that capacity to adapt and reinvent is absolutely more important. And for doing that, you need to, yes, let go of the ropes of the past. And at a club level, yes, probably there are some practices that worked in the past. There are some clubs that have shut down today, believing that, yes, we will open only at a time when we could meet live. All right, so letting go of that particular thinking and considering the fact that, yes, what if for the next 2 years, we're going to have this similar situation, then we need to measure up to giving virtual presentations. For the very first time in the history of 96 years, we had a virtual public speaking world champion. Probably the next year also, we may have a virtual champion. And you never know, probably you may have a virtual champion and a real champion. You never know what is there to come, but we need to measure up to that. And for that, we need to let go of the ropes. And the ropes are nothing but those things that are pulling us down. And eventually, I think I love the analogy that was used, beautifully conceived and presented by Christopher Nolan, where he says that, we think that the rope is that particular, the catalyst that is going to propel us towards the heights that we could reach. No, as a matter of fact, it is pulling us down. Right? And without it, when he reaches, he's a free bird and he's able to levitate the forces much more effortlessly.
Amazing. How to keep one motivated when all their efforts lead to failure? I mean, some people, they try their best and they keep on trying and then they fail. So how to keep them motivated?
Okay, good. I mean, okay, fine, great. If you keep winning, you are an inspiration. And if you don't keep winning and if you learn lessons from that, you become a motivational speaker like me. So very simple, share your failures with everybody and put an embedded lesson in that, and you become a motivational speaker and you get paid for it. So what's stopping you? So people are more inspired from a story of failures that eventually leads to success. So you need to have succeeded somewhere, and you will eventually, right? If you're walking the same path over a period of time, you'll eventually succeed. So the only point is, don't be demotivated. And if you look at most motivational speakers, who are the people who need the most motivation on this planet Earth? The motivational speakers. Right? If you try and see, they are the people who keep acquiring just about every form of, story or anecdote or personal incident that they keep collecting. Why? Back in the day, I still remember, as a child, my moral science teacher told me about this Zen philosopher. A student goes to a Zen master and he says, "Master, I want to learn the art of Zen from you." And the master tries to pour some coffee or tea into the cup, and the cup overflows. And he says, "Stop, master, the cup is overflowing." And the master then says, "You need to empty the cup. Likewise, you got to empty the mind in order to learn a new talent or a skill or a philosophy or a discipline." Now, that as a story was relevant back in the day, but today I believe if you want to be a motivated person, your cup should be always overflowing. Your cup of knowledge, your cup of aspiration, your cup of positivity should be overflowing. And the rub-off of that particular overflow is what motivates others. So reach out to people and try to talk to them. I talked to so many people. I met this particular lady who was who was a dentist. When she was a student of dentistry, she was going with a few friends of hers, and she met with an accident. And the next thing, she sees herself in a hospital bed. She asked the doctor, "Doctor, how are my friends?" The doctor says, "They're all fine." And then he says, "I've got to tell you something." And she says, "Doctor, tell it as it is. I'm a student of medicine. I can understand." And she said, "Sorry, dear, you're going to be a paraphlegmatic for life." And paraphlegmatic means there's no sensation, waist down. So she takes a book and she starts slamming her legs. There is no sensation. So she's relegated to a wheelchair. Her friends ostracize her, they isolate her, and they don't take her to picnics and movies because they believe, yeah, it's going to be a nuisance carrying her or, taking her. Let's just leave her. And her fiance dumps her. And she finishes her dentistry. And today in our country, she is perhaps one of the very few, or probably the only one, who does her entire practice of dentistry from a wheelchair. And that's not it. She went on to representing the country in the the Miss India wheelchair competition, and you won the pageant also. Right. So truly, she's an inspiration and a motivation. When I read a story, I looked at a common friend in my Facebook and I asked this common friend, "Can you introduce her to me?" And I went and I met her. And she was such an inspiration. Meet people who fought battles that are bigger than yours, and they will truly inspire you. And you find that everybody's invariably fighting some battles. And this is one thing that I keep telling people. I leave my coordinates with you. So if you find someone, could you please introduce them to me, either virtually or physically? I'd love to meet them because I love to know what is it that made them what they are. And during the lockdown phase, I called her up and I asked her, how are you going through? And she said, "I've been in a lockdown long back. Long back. Yes, I've been in a lockdown. And this is nothing for me. When I lost the capacity to move, when I was relying on everybody for everything, yes, it was a bigger lockdown for me. Now this, I'm glad because everybody is experiencing a lockdown. And now we know how it feels like to just stay in a confined zone. The way in which he looked at life was quite different. So talk to different people, talk to people who have battled better battles than you do. And definitely your cup will overflow. And when it overflows beyond, it tries to spill over and reach out other people who could derive motivation from your life.
Amazing. I think we have only time for one question because I see the yellow amber light was there for a while. Is there anything you would like to achieve, DJ? in your
Oh, a
life?
lot. A lot. I still believe
What's
that I
left
have
for
a
you?
long way to go. I have a long, long way to go in everything that I have to do. I still keep telling people I'm a beginner. I always operate from the beginner's mindset. Right? There's a book that I was reading by Jack London. You know, it's a book where there's this boy, I mean, there's this man who goes to this Arctic zone, and he believes mankind has seen it all, you know, so he doesn't believe when people say that it's going to be really cold, you're going to die. And then he experiences it and he says, no, you know, this is colder than what I experienced. Right. So when I was reading it, I got into this particular I got the psychological insight where it said, when you try to look at everything from a beginner's mindset, it is quite different. And I would love to do my pathways all over again and try to appeal for another DTM, not to add on to the list of DTMs, but just to go out and find out for a fresh new perspective towards everything. So I want to make a full-length feature film. So anyone has got any monies and you don't know what to do with it, I will leave my coordinates with you. Please try to get in touch with me. I'll give you extraordinary credit for you. I will say this is a movie that was conceived by you, that was funded by you and everything. So if you want, I can put you as the hero or the heroine also with your favorite cast. Everything is left to you in choice. I'm a very, very democratic person. I don't believe in autocracy at all. So yes, I want to make a full-length feature film, which is a blockbuster. I want to win the world championship of public speaking. I want to do a lot of things, absolutely. I want to sponsor the education of at least 10 children from kindergarten to PhD and beyond. So yes, I still want to realize every dream of mine that I had as a child. And I
Thank you.
still keep dreaming. I'm an eternal
Thank you
dreamer.
so much, DJ, for such an uplifting talk and answering all the questions in another uplifting manner. I mean, I personally enjoyed it, and I'm sure the audience here has been really inspired, and we've learned a lot of lessons. For me, I like this. We have to work on basically intimacy among us, not only for Toastmasters, even within our family, friends, and even the workplace. And we also need to climb for others, not for oneself. That's a very nice quote that I'll always remember. Thank you so much again for joining us today. And with that, I would like to hand over to our amazing master of ceremony to carry on the proceedings. Over to you, DTM Video.
Thank you so much, Rania. Such a wonderful moderation and how beautifully answered all the questions. DJ, you truly touch the hearts. You truly touch the hearts with all the 7 lessons that you have given us today. And I'm sure the messages that came across from every story that you gave us today has rubbed off on all of us to take it forward. And I'm sure there was several hair-raising moments, and everybody are going back with wonderful messages. And I didn't feel very few sessions you truly feel that tangibleness, that as if the emotions are passing through. But this was one session where I could truly feel the energy was virtually passing through, and I could tangibly feel every single story that you could feel, visualize it and feel it in our nerves. Thank you for making it so interesting. Thank you so much. And it's time for us now to express our gratitude. And to do that, for the vote of thanks, I would like to invite my buddy from the CGD team, the fantastico man, Toastmaster Ahmed Abdullah. Ahmed Abdullah is actually a HR professional at Atlantis, the Palm Dubai Resort. He's the current president of Capital Toastmasters. He's a part of, as I said, our club growth team. And in the month of November, he will invite all of us for a party. Guess what? Because he's actually nominated as the best HR person award for the Middle East, for the Hoteliers Award. And I'm sure he's going to be a winner out of it. He's an international MC himself, host of music and dance festival. He loves music and dance, especially salsa. So he's going to end for us with a musical note, as we already have a DJ with us. The screen is all yours, Ahmed. Go for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, DTM Video. Thank you so much. And it's true, we have a DJ, we have the dancers, we have the music. We're gonna have some fun. This is an amazing session today, and I just want to give me a second. Yes. Wow. I think that's just one word. Wow. You know, someone once said that gratitude is the best medicine. It heals your mind, your body, and your soul. and it attracts more things to be grateful for. So after today's successful growth series, event number 3, the only thing left is to say thank you to a few people who've actually made this session a huge success. Not just a huge success, but a motivating, enlightening, stimulating, and guess what? A fantastical event. So please give everybody here, everybody, all the audience, everybody who's here today, a big round of applause for sticking with us till the end. So thank you so much. What a great way to spend the Friday afternoon. Now, the first person that I would like to say thank you to today is obviously our guest speaker, DTM Deepak Justin. Deepak, what can I say, buddy? What can I say, DJ? Honestly, the 7 lessons that you shared for me, there are 3 that actually stand out, and I will remember them for a long time. Exactly what DTM Rani has said, that emotional intimacy is key. You know, facing your fears is key, especially in an uncertain world like this. And the one that really, you know, and hit me the most was climb for others and not for yourself. So I really, that was amazing. Personally, I must confess, I never heard you speak before, but today you definitely gained one more fan, and would love to be in touch and hopefully to see you again and to have you back. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Show a lot of support, a lot of love, a lot of appreciation for our guest speaker here today, DTM Deepak Justin. Please give him a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you, and we look forward to see you again. Okay, the sooner the better. The second person we would love to say is, of course, our Sergeant at Arms. What a way to start. You know, the party never gets started without the, you know, the first impression. The first impression, DTM Nayana Shaju, thank you so much. You've always been an inspiration, and it's great to have you start the meeting today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for DTM Nayana for that wonderful start as a Sergeant at Arms. And of course, my buddy, thank you, DTM Vidya, for being such an incredible host. You know, it's not easy to MC or to host, you know, an important session like this, and you did it with grace. You did it flawlessly. Love your energy, love the enthusiasm that you bring, and the way you presented it was so effortless. So thank you so much. So please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for DTM Vidya. Thank you, thank you. And of course, the man who kept us in check, the timer himself. Okay, without him, this meeting is not going to finish on time. It's not going to start or finish on time. So please put your hands together for the one and only DTM Rajiv for being an amazing timer today. And of course, the man behind the scenes, okay? And now in a lot of Toastmaster meetings, we don't get to see this person, but without this person, this meeting is not gonna run flawlessly or effortlessly as it did today. And for that, I would like to give our love, our support as the Toastmaster fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Jinesh. Jinesh, yes, thank you. And of course, again, Ram, as DJ called him, the man who's always got a big smile, for being the Zoom master as well. So please put your hands together for Toastmaster Ram. And my friend from Oman, and he's also a member of the Club Growth team, and the quality team to be in particular, Toastmaster Arnold, who does all our marketing. Again, you would not be able to see and feel this event all around the district if it was not for the artwork and all the amazing marketing that Arnold does for us. So please give him a big round of applause. That's Toastmaster Arnold. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you so much. So last but not the least is humbly is me. I just want to say that I had a fantastic time. It was amazing. It was great. What a motivating speech. I'm still thinking about everything that you said, DJ, and we look forward to see you all. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who attended here today. You know, your Friday afternoon is valuable, and we appreciate you all coming here today. So thank you so much, and for not just listening to me, but to listening to all those incredible speakers out there today. Thank you so much, and Back to you, DT and Rania.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ahmed. That was fantastic of expression of gratitude to everyone who were involved in making this session so wonderful. I would now like to invite DTM Rania for the closing remarks before we close the session. Over to you, Rania.
Thank you so much, Vidya. And once again, I'd like to extend our gratitude and thanks to you, DJ, for being with us on this. I know you have a very busy schedule. We've been in chat and contact over the past probably 3 months to make this day and this event happen. So thank you so much for being with us, and for everyone who's joined us from all over the district, from Jordan, Lebanon, Oman, and UAE, and also from India, our fellow buddies all the way from India, dignitaries, district leaders there, and also from Russia. Thank you so much for being here. And let's take this moment to have a group photo before we have it today. How about having, because again, we are on social media, so, and for DJ's wife has to believe that he was actually giving a session today. So to do that, we have to take a group photo. So can we have all our cameras switch on? So let's have a group photo. Zoom master, you are the boss here. Big smiles.
Done.
Everyone, all screens?
Added in the group.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And with this, I'd like to call this meeting adjourned, and we can also stop the live YouTube streaming. You can see this event on the YouTube channel of District 105. It's already live streamed, and you already have the details of DJ if you need to be in touch with him. And I'm sure we'll see him more often, and we'll be invited to many of our club events and area events. I already get in requests, so DJ, you'll be